Pokemon Home just came out recently, and we now have access to a whole bunch of new Pokemon in the game. Today I'm going to go through all the new mons and how you can use them in Scarlet and Violet. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also keep in mind that I won't be going over the Hisuian forms from Legends Arceus here, as I'll be talking about them in their own separate video. So with all that out of the way, let's get right into it. So, starting off, we have the legendary birds. Not much to say about them. Something that is worth noting is that they all lost Defog, which is a pretty harsh blow to them, honestly, because that was kind of one of the main things they all did, especially with boots and stuff. They're very good at getting rid of hazards, but they no longer have access to that, which is very unfortunate for all of them. And also Zapdos lost, in addition to Defog, both Toxic and Weather Ball, so that is pretty big sting for both defensive and offensive sets on him. But I still think Zapdos is going to be fine, all things considered, because, I mean, he's Zapdos, and he's always good, but also, like, yeah, no Defog and all that other stuff sucks, but he still has good moves like Roost and Volt Switch, T-Bolt, Discharge, Heat Wave, Hurricane, all that good stuff. So I think he can still do his thing reasonably well. But yeah, definitely a little less good than he was before. But again, I still think he'll be fine, especially considering Electric Flying is just such a good typing. So yeah. Also, Articuno lost Mind Reader, in case any of you care to know that. So yeah, that's a devastating blow to Articuno, truly. I don't know how he'll ever recover from that. But anyways, sarcasm aside, we also have the Galarian forms, of course, and all of them now have access to Tailwind, which is actually pretty neat. I mean, I don't know how applicable it would be to them in all situations. I mean, it's more so like a doubles thing, right? That's probably where it'd be most useful. Yeah, I don't think you'd run it because you already have agility and stuff. Yeah, so I don't know about that. Actually, do you all have agility? Oh, you do. Yeah, so I guess that really is only for doubles then. I mean, I guess you could Tailwind for your team and like switch out, but like that doesn't really seem worth it. So yeah, I guess that's neat for doubles, but besides that, not much to say. Also, Galarian Zapdos lost both Blaze Kick and Steel Wing, which is honestly not a big deal, really. I don't know why they felt the need to get rid of those two moves in particular. I mean, I guess Blaze Kick had some situational uses, but I mean, for the most part, you're just spamming like Brave Bird in close combat with this guy, so I don't really... I'm not sure what the thought process was there, if I'm being honest. But hey, you know, he's still fine. I think still doing his thing. Anywho, Mewtwo. So Mewtwo got Earth Power and Power Gem, which is I mean, sure, I guess, but like I don't think he really needed those. But at the same time, it's like, who cares? Like, it's Mewtwo. Like, why not? And also, like, it's just more coverage. He gets a ground move that he can use with his special attack, which is neat, I guess. I don't know if you wanted to hit... I don't really play Ubers, but, like, I guess you could hit Dialga, but you already had Aura Sphere, so I don't know. I do know Power Gem could be interesting, though, because would be very good against, like, Ho-Oh and stuff in Ubers. But yeah, I don't really have much to say. It's just, like, you know, like, he's Mewtwo. Like, you just give him more stuff. Why not? Why not? And then, however, I have a lot to say about this guy. Mew, he got done very, very dirty. I can't. There's really no other way to put it. So let's just go over what did he lose? Well, he lost Knockoff. He lost Defog. Okay, you know, a lot of Pokemon lost those moves. It's not the worst thing, right? He lost Toxic. Okay, I mean, sure. He lost Roost. Okay, that kind of sucks. Also lost Soft Boiled. Okay. There's no recover. There's no wait a second. Well. So yeah, Mew doesn't have any recovery moves anymore. None. At least I don't think. None that are good, at least. I know that much for sure. So yeah, that's a kind of that's pretty yikes, because you know I feel like Mew's most consistent set over the years was always like you'd run like soft boiled, and then it was literally like they got rid of his whole shtick, bro. Cause you'd run like this. I mean, he still gets Will-O-Wisp, which is fine, I guess. But you'd run something like this, and it's like a nice defensive set, and then that's like gone completely. He can't do any of this anymore. So it's like, what does Mew do now? I mean, you might be thinking to yourself, well, he's Mew. He gets like every move. He should be fine, right? Well, I mean, I don't know, because aside from that like defensive niche he had, the only other stuff he can do like well is like suicide hazard stacking with like, you know, stealth rocks and spikes and all that. And to be fair, Mew is pretty good at doing that, but at the same time, they gave so many mons access to the spikes in this gen, so it's like I don't really know if like Mew's that necessary for that job anymore, because I feel like there's just better mons that can do it, like Garchomp or Clodsire or whoever. Like there's just like a lot of mons have both spikes and stealth rocks now, so I don't think the fact that Mew can do it isn't as like big of a deal as it used to be. And then the other side of that is like offensive sets, which like were always a thing, but I always felt like they just weren't like that good on Mew. Like I feel like if you wanted to run offensive stuff, like they're just better mons for the job. I mean, you still get some cool moves and stuff, but it's just like, I don't know. Like honestly, I don't really know what Mew's purpose is anymore. Like the fact that he gets no recovery and lost a lot of his utility moves is like, I don't know, that's just really rough for him. Definitely one of the meanest nerfs we got in this gen, so that sucks to see, but I guess, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Poor Mew, he's got nothing this gen. Very sad. But anyways, moving on from that, we have the Alolan forms, which are back. Well, some of them are anyway. And I'm very excited to talk about this. Talk about my boy. He's back. I love Alolan Muck. He was missing from Sword and Shield, but they brought him back, as they should have. And he gets Drain Punch now, which is honestly pretty cool. I think that's very helpful for like the Soul Vest sets, because now you have some form of recovery, which is always nice. Still gets knockoff, which is excellent. Doesn't have Pursuit anymore, which is like pretty whatever, I guess. You know, like, it kind of sucks, but it's like, you know, he doesn't really need it. And yeah, it's just cool to see him back. He does lose Shadow Sneak, which kind of sucks. Having some form of priority. Although to be fair, I don't know how common it was in the first place. I mean, I guess, you know, maybe in some niche situation, like if you had this guy in draft or something, like the priority could help, but it's like it's pretty whatever, I think. I don't think it's that big a deal, but yeah, it's cool to have him back, and I'm very excited and looking forward to using him, because he's pretty epic. Next we got Dugtrio, who I don't think anything changed about him, so yeah, he's there, he's got the hair, and yeah, he's pretty mid. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Moving on, Persian. Did Persian lose anything? I do not believe he did. So that's cool. Persian. It's never the best mon in the world, but like he's cool. He's got some tricks to him. You know, pretty fast. He's got Fur Coat, which is always nice. Dark type, all that. He's got really good support moves. He's always just been kind of like a cool low tier pick. It's nice to have him back. I don't know. He's neat. Yes. Anywho, Alolan Raichu now has a Draining Kiss, which is pretty neat. I honestly not sure how practical this really is, and like how often it'll get used, but I mean, the fact that he has it is neat. I guess, you know, maybe with like a Calm Mind is set. I don't know, but like Raichu, he's not very bulky, So I don't know how good that be, but I guess, you know, fairy coverage. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of cool. But yeah, Alolan Raichu back in action. Love to see it. Galarian Slowbro is also back, and he did the, I believe, because I know the regular forms lost his teleport, and Scald, of course, no one has except Volcanion. So yeah, that's pretty. I mean, I don't think that's the worst thing. I mean, no Scald is like not great, but it's like, I don't know. Galarian Slowbro, I feel like he was always just kind of, you know, he was the runt of the litter of the Slow brothers, you know. He never was as good as the rest, which is kind of a shame. But you know, I mean, he's back now, so I guess you can do your little quick draw shenanigans if you want. You know, if you just want to mess around, there it is. Go at it. But Galarian Slowking, on the other hand, now this guy, pretty sure he also lost the stuff. No Scald, obviously. So like, I guess that's a little bit of a blow to him. But honestly, I think he's gonna be fine, all things considered. Because this, if you guys were not aware, this thing's a freaking beast in Sword and Shield. He's just so annoying to deal with, and he's just like, he's just so good with like an Assault Vest. He takes so many hits, and just like, he's really annoying to deal with, like, very much so. Did he still get Future Sight? Yeah, so he's got that. Also, he has Chilly Reception now, which is actually pretty good for him, I feel like, because like, no teleport now, he can use that, although I don't think teleport wasn't that common on him in the first place, which I think, did he get teleport in Gen 8? I feel like he did. Maybe he didn't. Maybe that's misinformation, but regardless, he has Chilly Reception now, which is pretty good for him, I feel like. Obviously, you wouldn't want to run that on an Assault Vest set, but like, you know, that could potentially be something we see to, you know, make him a better pivot and whatnot. But yeah, this guy is freaking, he's super good. He's definitely going to be a menace, so watch out for him. But yeah, next up we got the boys. Big old Gen 3 Legends. Starting off with Groudon. Now Groudon, guys. Groudon won big in this gen, alright? He won the freaking Powerball. He's out here. Okay, so he got access to Crunch, which is pretty, I mean, that's like whatever. Like, okay. Spikes, which is freaking dope for him. Will-O-Wisp and Body Press. So like, this guy is freaking, like, he is up so big. About time I showed Groudon some love, because I feel like he was always a little bit, you know, like, Primals aside, he was always kind of like, you know, not one of the best box art legendaries. Like, obviously he's still like crazy, like, look at these stats, but like, you know, I feel like in Ubers you didn't really see him that much, except maybe like in older gens. But like, now this dude is freaking, he's out here, bro. He's ready. I could only imagine how terrifying Primal Groudon would be with these moves, because it is kind of insane. But yeah, this is some huge buffs for Groudon. Hopefully he'll be getting more usage in Ubers and all that stuff, because yeah, they just give him so much love in this gen, so that's hype to see. Kyogre, on the other hand, didn't get any new moves, but he also didn't lose any, which is good. And also, he didn't really need anything else, because he's always had what he needs, right? He got like Water Spout, Thunder, Ice Beam. That's basically it. Maybe like Origin Pulse if you need that or whatever. Yeah, he's Kyogre. He's always been stupidly good. So yeah, cool to have him back. That'll be fun in Ubers. And then Rayquaza. So Rayquaza lost V-Create, which honestly I feel I'm kind of okay with, because it's like, why do you even have it in the first place? Like, he didn't need that. Like, why did you just steal Victini's whole thing? Like, come on, man, you don't need that. But in exchange, he got U-Turn, Stealth Rock, and Wild Charge. Wild Charge isn't that important. Don't really care about Wild Charge, but like U-Turn and Stealth Rock, it's like, what? Why? Why though? Like, why are you just trying to make this guy like Lando T but Ubers? Like, what's going on? Like, what are we doing? I mean, it's cool, it's hype, but like, I just don't really get it. Like why does he get Stealth Rock? I don't understand. But like, whatever, dude. Let's just rock with it. Like, get it? Rocks? No, but for real. I mean, Rayquaza has always been amazing, right? So like, he's just gonna be better. Like, I think probably like be much more viable to run like a supportive pivot type set, you know. What would you run? I guess, you know, probably still like, whoa, Dragon Ascent, and then like, what else? I don't really know, honestly. What other support moves does he get? You don't really need D-Dance, not if you have U-Turn, you know. Yeah, I don't know. T-Wave, if you want to be mean, if you want to be evil, I guess that's always an option. Or you could just run like a, just like, I don't know, Earthquake, just like a aggressive pivot sort of deal. I don't know, maybe that could be something. I don't really play Ubers, so not the most familiar with these mons, but like, hey, you could probably do something with them. But anyways, next up we have the Lake Trio, Azelf, Mesprit, Uxie. So they all have access to a new move it's their own new signature move, Mystical Power, which is a special psychic move, 70 power, 90 accuracy. It has a 100% chance to raise your special attack. So it's basically like Torch Song, but it's a psychic move, and it's also kind of worse because it's not as strong and it's also not 100% accurate. But yeah, I mean, Torch Song is a crazy move, and this also seems like a crazy move. Any move that like raises a stat guaranteed and also is like pretty strong, like, I feel like there's just no way that could be bad. Like, it's just kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't really like, I mean, first of all, for Azelf, I think this thing could be kind of crazy, especially if you just like run like specs and just like spam it. Like, that could get kind of nutty. I mean, Azelf's always been, I feel like he's always been like a decent mon, but he's never been like meta since like Gen 4, at least not in OU. But like, hey, I don't know, maybe he's got this, maybe he can do something, I don't know, or maybe not, maybe he'll just be UU again, or maybe he'll get banned from UU, because maybe this is a little too strong. I don't know yet, we'll have to see. But yeah, that's pretty cool. As for the other two, I'm honestly not super sure like how well they could use it. I mean, I guess Mesprit would be like pretty fine with it, like in the lower tiers. Maybe you could like run it like with Calm Mind, or do you get Nasty Plot? Don't think. Oh, you do get Nasty Plot. Okay, so you could maybe run like some sort of setup thing with him, because like reasonably bulky. Maybe you could do the same for Uxie, right? But like Uxie, you never really use Uxie for damage dealing or anything like that. You use it for the bulk, right? But you know, maybe you could try to run like a setup thing. Maybe like, I don't know, like what coverage do you get? Shadow Ball, and like, I don't know. Maybe there's something there. But yeah, still, it's a pretty cool move. I think, you know, these guys were due for like a little extra love, because I feel like, you know, compared to some of the other legendary trios, they don't really have the juice like that. I mean, they've always been like decent mons, but like, you know, they kind of fallen off. So I think the extra love is much appreciated, at least from me. Anywho, enough on them. Next up, we got Dialga, who now has Trick and Focus Blast, which is pretty cool additions to his moveset. Focus Blast, and you know, now if you want like a stronger option over Aura Sphere, if you're willing to risk the accuracy, that's an option. And Trick is, you know, is also always nice to have, just for the, you know, just in case, you know, just as an option. I feel like on a spec set, you know, it'd be pretty crazy. You can give him like Draco and stuff, and it'd be kind of probably do some crazy Demagios. I mean, Specs has always been a thing, right? But like now with Trick, it's like more flexible, right? Because you can trick away your Specs if you don't want to be locked in, or if you want to like cripple a supportive Mon. And so yeah, it's just cool. It's just neat to see. Yeah, I mean, I don't really play Ubers, so I don't really know what Pokemon's logic is with like how they're deciding to give these moves to the legendaries, like, because like they're all broken, right? So like they just sit down and be like, I feel like, I think Dialga really needs Trick. I think he's been missing that, really. I have no idea, but hey, why not? Palkia also gets Trick, which is cool. Again, it's neat for like choice sets, yeah. But let's talk about these things, these crazy guys, because they're a thing now. The origin forms from Legends Arceus, now we have access to them. So these guys, I don't really know what to make of these guys, honestly, because like, so they're like Giratina, right? Where to have the form, they need to hold the item that's specific to them. And like, does the same thing, right, as the Grizzly's Orb, right? Because that, boosts Giratina's stab. So yeah, these do the same thing. Little stab boost, which I guess is like okay, but like, I don't know, like, also their stats barely change between forms. Dialga loses some attack and gets it in special defense, I think, yeah, which is a pretty, like, that's a good stat redistribution, right? Because like, who's using Dialga on the physical side, really? You don't really do that. So a little extra bulk is nice, but I don't know, at the same time, I feel like Dialga appreciates, having the freedom to choose an item that it wants, like Specs or leftovers on a bulky set or whatever. So I'm not really sure, honestly, because that's always been the thing with Giratina, right? It's like using the origin form, it's kind of weird because you have to hold the item, so it's like, is it always worth it? Maybe sometimes, maybe not, I don't know. Palkia is an interesting case though, because for its stats, loses attack just like Dialga and gets it in speed, which sounds really good, and it is good, but at the same time, I feel like, Palkia already runs, I feel like Scarf is pretty common on it in the first place, so that like helps it with the speed, and also with the Scarf it's faster than this thing. But I mean, I don't know, maybe because I feel like, I don't know, Palkia kind of has better dual stab than Dialga, I think, so maybe like the orb can help out, and being able to have extra speed but not be locked in, it's pretty nice. So I don't know, maybe Palkia, maybe this thing could be good. Again, I don't play Ubers, so I really have no idea, but hey, it's cool to see him here, and I'm sure she'll be interesting to use. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say, really. Next up, I have a lot to say about my boy Heatran. This is a Pokemon I'm very familiar with. So he gets Power Gem now, which is okay, sure. I mean, why not? I guess, coverage maybe. If your opponent brings Moltres, then they better watch out. But on the flipsy to that, he no longer has Toxic or Eruption, and that really sucks for both offensive and defensive sets, because Eruption with Scarf was kind of crazy, especially on Sun teams. Now I can't do that anymore, and that really blows. That definitely makes it a lot worse, Scarf set at least. And then like defensive set, like Toxic was pretty standard on it, like you saw it a lot. But like I mean, I think you can still get by without it. Like you can do okay. Like, I don't know. I guess, yeah. Like you run something like this, or like maybe you do like Protect, and then like switch this with like Magma Storm. Yeah, and like I don't know. He's still good. He's still Heatran. He's still the GOAT. Like, don't get it twisted. But like no Toxic kind of sucks, because he was always a fan of using Toxic. At least the defensive sets were. So yeah, that's definitely a sting. But I think Heatran will be fine, all things considered. He's just way too good of a Pokemon. Like, he's never been bad, literally never. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I don't think getting rid of Toxic is going to ruin this Mon, because he's just too insane. But anyways, moving on to Giratina. I don't think he gained or lost anything, so he's the same old self. He's back at it. He got the origin form too. He's doing his thing, you know. Yeah, I'm sure all the Ubers players are either happy or upset, because, you know, this thing, you know, he's kind of annoying to fight. But hey, he's back now, so I guess we gotta deal with it. Anyway, Cresselia. So Cresselia's interesting because it didn't actually get nerfed by, like, losing any moves like most Mons did. It actually got a stats nerf, which is does not happen very often. But yes, so it lost 10 points in defense and special defense. So it used to be 120 defense and 130 special defense. Now it's just 110 and 120 respectively. And I think this is a fine nerf, because, like, Cresselia has always been stupid, bulky, and annoying. Now it's a little less so. I don't think it's a very substantial nerf, honestly. Like, I still think things, like, it's still, like, I look at the stats, like, it's still pretty nutty, but, like, you know, now it's not going to be as crazy, which I guess is fine. I mean, Cresselia, like, it's never been, like, great in singles, I feel like, but, you know, it's definitely always been kind of a menace in doubles, especially, like, you know, getting up Trick Room and all that. So I understand why Pokemon would nerf it from that perspective. But yeah, I guess, you know, honestly, I think it's just, you know, it's fine that this thing's going to be less annoying now, which is always a plus in my opinion. But now, moving on from that, I almost forgot, I think, did you? Yes, right. Almost forgot. Cresselia has a new move, which was in Legends Arceus, I'm pretty sure, which is Lunar Blessing. It heals the user and its allies for 1/4 of their HP and also cure status. So it's basically like jungle healing on Zarude. Also Life Dew is also similar to, where it heals a quarter and cure status, but it also works on your ally Pokemon, which will be interesting in doubles, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, you still get, like, do you get recovery? You have Moonlight, yeah. So you have I mean, I guess Lunar Blessing could be, like, an alternative if you're worried about Cresselia getting status, like Toxic or something, maybe. But I don't know. I mean, it's a neat option, but I don't think it's that huge a deal. But yeah. Anyways, moving on to Arceus now. Arceus, I want to talk about Mons getting love. Arceus got literally everything, like too much for me to fit. Let me just go down the list of the moves he gets now. He now has Healing Wish, Hydro Pump, Taunt, Imprison, Bulk Up, Dragon Dance, Flare Blitz, Power Gem, Gunk Shot, Heavy Slam, Foul Play, Stored Power, Hex, Hurricane, and Body Press. But don't worry, guys, to keep it balanced, you know, to make sure it wouldn't be too crazy, they got rid of Whirlpool on him. Thank goodness, because if he kept Whirlpool, that would have been way too much. I would not have been able to deal with that. So thank goodness they kept him balanced that way. But now for real, I mean, I think it's just kind of funny that they just gave him all these moves, because, like, you know, like, he's the god of Pokemon, so let's just like screw it. Let's just make him stupid. Let's just give him everything. Make him busted. I mean, like, Bulk Up, Dragon Dance, Gunk Shot, Flare Blitz, Hydro Pump, Healing Wish, like, bro, Hurricane, Body Press, bro, like, they gave him everything, bro. Which, I mean, I guess, you know, he did have his own game and stuff, so, you know, they gotta give him a little suck, you know. But I mean, that's just kind of crazy. I have no idea how this is gonna affect Ubers, and, like, because Arceus has always been great, obviously, but, like, now he's just gonna be even more crazy with all these moves. So I don't know. That'll be I'd be crazy to see, definitely, how that affects Ubers, and, you know, with all his forms and whatnot. Also, I guess it's worth mentioning that, I don't know, do they even have it on Showdown? I don't think it's here. But the plate he has in Legends Arceus, whatever it's called, the alpha plate, I don't remember what it's called, but the plate that makes him broken, you know, because he wasn't broken already. What the hell does it do? It makes Judgment always super effective against the Pokemon. I'm pretty sure. Like, it'll always hit for super effective, regardless of whatever type of Pokemon you're fighting. But anyways, that plate, it's not in the game. They did not bring it over from Legends Arceus, is my point. Which is, you know, I guess they didn't want to get too crazy, but I don't know. I feel like it would have been kind of fun, but whatever. Not a big deal. But yeah, anyways, moving on. We got the boys, the genies. So they lost kind of a lot. They kind of got it rough. So all of them no longer have superpower, explosion, defog, toxic, and knockoff. They all lost that. So that is definitely rough. For starters, Torrentee without defog, that is very, very sad. Because that was kind of his main claim to fame was you know, being just this amazing like pivot switch in, especially with boots. You just come in, be super fast. You know, defog has the way you turn out, do all that stuff. But now he can't. So that definitely he loses some value from that for sure. I still think he's a great mon because like the stats are amazing. He's got Regenerator, which is always good, and he still has good moves. But like, I don't know, no defog, because I feel like defog was his main thing, right? So now he doesn't have it, which kind of sucks. But I think there's still plenty of ways to use him. But yeah, also no knockoff sucks. That's also a big ouchie. Again, I think it just makes the like utility sets like so much worse. I mean, you still got like taunt and U-turn and stuff, but like that's kind of it, honestly. I feel like definitely like offensive sets might be better now. Just like go full, just like, you know, run all the strong moves, Heat Wave, Focus Blast, you know, all that stuff. And also he gets the new move from PLA that he got. All the genies got their own new moves in that game. So Tornadus gets Bleak Wind Storm, which is pretty solid move, I think. 100 power, 80 accuracy, and a 30% chance to lower their speed, which is like okay. I think it's an interesting like alternative to Hurricane, because it's like, you know, it's a little bit weaker, but it's also more accurate. So like, you know, it's an option to have if you want to miss, you know, at least a little bit less often. Then, you know, you can run Bleak Windstorm, and there you go. So yeah. And then Thunderous, what was your move that they gave you? What was it called? Wild Bolt Storm, yes. Yeah, this, I don't really know if this is worth running. I feel like you just run Thunderbolt instead, right? Because it's only a little less strong, but like it's 100 accuracy, so like, it's like whatever. Because I mean, like you mainly use this over like Thunder, but like who's running Thunder unless you're on a rain team? In which case you would want Thunder over this move. So yeah, I don't know, not that great. But yeah, I guess also, you know, superpower on these guys is like a little worse for physical sets, which were never that common, but I feel like, you know, they were a thing at some point, or just like half for coverage, and now that's not a thing on them. So that is a bit sad, but we got to talk about Landorus, obviously, because, you know, obviously these nerfs affect him pretty heavily, but on the flip side, he also got buffed by having access to Nasty Plot and Taunt. So first off, this thing with Nasty Plot is disgusting, because he's already a super strong special attacker with Sheer Force and Life Orb, and he had Earth Power and freaking, I mean, that's it basically. That's pretty much all he needed. But then, you know, he also had Extra Sensory, Focus Blast, freaking Psychic, Rock Slide if you want to be mixed. You can run Sludge Bomb. He's always been insane, and now they give him Nasty Plot, so now he's even more broken than he was already. That's cool. Sure, why not? Yeah, so this guy's stupid. But then we get to Lando T, my good friend, who's always been there for me through the darkest times. So, first off, Nasty Plot on him, not as useful as on the regular form, because, you know, special attack, it's actually not that bad, but, like, I don't know, you just don't use it, really. I mean, maybe you could run if you want to be really crazy. You could be like, you could do this and like Terra Blast flying. Maybe, I don't know, dude. I guess that could be a set. But whatever. Also, it's not on the list that I pulled up, I think. But yeah, Landorus does not have Rock Polish anymore, which it kind of sucks. That's also a big oof moment, because it was pretty cool for like setup sets. But yeah, so there's that. So aside from Nasty Plot, Shenanigans, Taunt on this guy I think is actually pretty good, because, you know, it just makes him a better support mon. Helps him deal with stall more, so that's neat. But you know, no knockoff, no toxic. It's no defog. It's rough. It's rough for my boy. So he can't get rid of hazards anymore. Doesn't have knockoff anymore. And he can't run toxic, which you saw a lot in Gen 8 because it was mainly a way for Landorus to deal with other Landorus, because, you know, Hidden Power wasn't in the game anymore. So back in the day, they run Hidden Power Ice to deal with other Landorus, but since they got rid of it, they started running Toxic so they could Toxic the other Landoruses. Because, yeah, because he's the most used Pokemon in the game, so yeah. But, I mean, not having any of this anymore is pretty rough. It's pretty rough for him, honestly. And then, of course, on the offensive side, no Superpower and no Explosion. I mean, Explosion was kind of whatever. You saw it sometimes on, like Suicide Lead, like Hazard sets. Just, like, get up rocks and then go boom. And, like, you can run, like, Normal Gem or something like that, which is, like, it was never the best set, so it's, like, whatever. But, like, Superpower, kind of rough for offensive sets, especially Scarf, I feel like, always appreciated. Superpower, at least sometimes, because you run, like, you know, Superpower U-turn, Earthquake, and then you used to run Knockoff, but, you know, now you can't do that anymore. So I guess, what do you run? You run Stone Edge, and then, like, I don't even know what else you run after that, like Terra Blast. Like, I guess, yeah. But yeah, Lando T, it's a little rough for him. Is he gonna be bad now? No. He's not. No, never. He can never be bad. He's like the best mon ever. But, you know, these nerfs definitely they sting a little bit. And also, you know, you look at it and it's like, you know, he lost defog, so he can't get rid of hazards. He lost knockoff. It did pretty rough. But, you know, if you look at another mon here, it's like, oh well, you know, he gets knockoff, and, you know, he can get rid of hazards. So it's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, he still gets, you know, a strong fighting move. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe. I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, if you guys have played Scarlet or Violet competitive at all, you already know Great Tusk is freaking ridiculous, and he's been like the most used mon in OU like since launch, like since Fluttermane was banned, which is like 3 days. So yeah, Great Tusk is pretty he's pretty good, but will he be better than Landorus? I honestly don't know, because, you know, all the stuff in Great Tusk's move pool is super helpful, especially now that Landorus has lost a lot of his moves. But at the same time, I mean, Landorus, you know, he's got that flying typing, so he's immune to ground, and, like, he also has Intimidate, which is, like, insane. So, like, I don't really know. I don't know if, like, who's gonna be better. I'm leaning towards Great Tusk still at the moment, but, like, yeah, I mean, I think while they're pretty similar when you look at them, I think they still have their own niches and their own, you know, their own uses. And yeah, I think they're both great mons in their own right, but I think they will definitely compete a little bit with each other moving forward. And yeah, like I said, I think Great Tusk is still just a little bit better in my opinion, but Lando T, obviously, he's still amazing. He's still the GOAT. Don't get that twisted. He can never be bad. He can literally never be bad unless they get rid of Earthquake on him. But then it's like, okay, well, honestly, even without Earthquake, as long as he gets U-turn and rocks, that's all. That's what he really needs. Honestly, if he has that, I think he always has a place. If I'm being perfectly honest. But anyways, yeah, that's my Lando T rant. So yeah, interested to see how people will use him going forward. But anyways, moving on from that, we got Meloetta, who is the same. Didn't lose anything, didn't get anything. It's just Meloetta's back, which is neat, I guess. I mean, Meloetta's never been the greatest mon, but like, hey, I mean, you know, maybe with Terra, okay, probably not, but you know, we got our back, so now we can use Meloetta again. Yay! Happy times. Diancie now has spikes, which is pretty cool. Because again, they just gave everything spikes this gen for no reason, which, like, okay, sure. So that's neat. You can run that with rocks if you want to. Get a little double hazard set up. Yes, that helps Diancie's, you know, support capabilities. Yeah, I don't know. It's neat, but like, you know, Diancie's always just been like okay. It's one of those low tier mons. But hey, another spikes setter, always cool to see. Next we got Hoopa, my boy Hoopa. He's back in business, baby. So nothing was changed about him, if I remember correct. My list says so. So yeah, I mean, Hoopa, regular Hoopa, he's good, but he's not amazing. He was like UU mons, because he's pretty slow, but he's super strong. The typing's like pretty good offensively, but not great defensively, because you quad weak to Ghost and Dark, which is kind of that's a little rough. But I mean, hey, I'm sure he'll still be cool to use. Also, with no pursuit, I think he'll be a little bit better because Hoopa wasn't in Gen 8, if I remember correct. So because back in the day, in Gen 6 and 7, pursuit was a real big pain for this guy, as you could probably imagine. But now with no pursuit, maybe he can get off a little easier, as most ghost types have in the past 2 gens. So yeah, I guess that's an indirect buff for him. But let's talk about this guy, the big boy. This guy's always been insane. He's crazy. He's got all these moves. He's stupid strong. And yeah, will he be broken this gen? I honestly don't know, because he was banned in Gen 6, but he wasn't in Gen 7. But also Gen 7 was like weird and kind of stupid with the power creep, so like I kind of get that. So I don't know if he's gonna be too strong in this gen or not, but like one thing I do know is I'm very excited to use him, is he's always been just an insane wall breaker with all his coverage and his strong stabs, and he's just he's nuts, he's insane. I love Hoopa. I'm glad that he's back. Yeah, that's all I have to say, really. Next up is Big Volk, who is now famously the only mon to have Scald. That's his new signature move, because it's not like he already had a signature move that was basically Scald, that was just stronger. So yeah, I guess that's kind of redundant. I feel like Steam Eruption is just better, right? Because it's not even that much less accurate. I mean, it would obviously be preferable if it was 100 accurate, but like it's still like 110. So like I don't know. I still feel like it's better. Like I don't see many situations where you run Scald unless you really don't want to miss. But I feel like the extra power on Steam Eruption, it's kind of worth it. But so like I don't know. But hey, he's Volcanion. He's still pretty good. Still has coverage with his Focus Blast and his friggin' Sludge Bomb. And yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna be pretty good. I don't know if he's just gonna be OU material. I mean, maybe the fact that he's the only mon with Scald will like bump him up in his viability. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just kind of funny that they decided, okay, only he gets Scald now. Everyone else, no. But Volcanion, you get a pass. So yeah, there's that. But besides that, he's still Volcanion, still does his Volcanion things, and yeah, pretty neat. Next up, Magearna. So, Magearna now has spikes. Why? I don't know. I guess they just decided this thing wasn't good enough. So hey, screw it. Everything else gets spikes. Let's give Magearna spikes. Sure. And no, they did not take away any of its moves to try to nerf it. They kept all this insane bullshit on it. Because, you know, why not? Why not just have a Pokemon that's broken for no reason? So yeah, that's Magearna, still broken and still pretty annoying. Yeah, I mean, I guess spikes, I guess I can talk about spikes usefulness on it. I mean, like, you know, it could be something on like a specs set, right? Because like, I think of like what people would run on Ash Greninja back in Sun and Moon, where like you run like specs with spikes. So like, the idea is like, if your opponent has something to switch in to your Mon, to take a hit, instead of going for an attack that would probably be resisted and not do that much, instead you could get up a spike and then switch out, and then next time you have your Greninja in, or in this case Magearna, if they have that counter still and they decide to switch it in, well, now they have to switch it into a spike, and they take chip damage switching in, which means they won't be able to take your attacks as well. So it kind of just like made it kind of helped like Ash Gren just like break through teams easier by setting up hazards for itself, and Magearna can kind of do that too, I guess. But I feel like that strategy is a little less good with boots now, because you know, if that like defensive Mon that checks you has boots, then like getting up a spike doesn't really help you in that situation. But I guess you still could use it for something. But yeah, Magearna, yeah, still broken. Anywho, the dogs. Let's talk about the doggy dogs, because they got it rough. I'll be honest. Well, sort of. Zacian got it rough, definitely. So in case you guys didn't know, their abilities were changed. Both Zacian and Zamazenta, their abilities got changed. How they used to work before is they would, well, if you didn't already know, they raised their attack and their defense respectively. When you switch them in, they just get a stat buff. And how it used to work was that they would just like give the stat buff every time you brought them in, which was ridiculous. So they changed it. So now it'll only activate once in a battle. You only get the buff the first time you send it out. Then after that, you don't get the buff anymore if you switch them out and send them back in, which is a pretty reasonable nerf, I'd say. But the real crazy stuff is with their stats, mainly Zacian. So if you guys didn't know, this Pokemon was broken beyond belief in Gen 8. It was like the most busted Pokemon ever, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. And you know, for some reason, you know, Game Freak thought it was a good idea to let people use this in VGC, and it like was like way too good. Who would have thought? And like it was on every team, and it just completely broke the meta. And yeah, so not a surprise that they would nerf it, but they nerfed it pretty hard, because they also didn't just nerf the ability, they nerfed its stats. So they took they took 30 attack from this form. So it used to have 150 attack, now it has 120 attack. And then Crown form, they took away wait, am I getting it? Hold on. Wait. Okay, wait, no, hold on. I'm tripping. Hold on, I got my numbers wrong. Excuse me. So wait. So no, this form had 130 attack, and now it has 120. So it only lost 10 attack. But the Crown form used to have 170. So now it's 150. So it lost 20 points. So yeah, that's pretty big deal for these guys. I mean, they still have Swords Dance, so they can still raise their attack. So I guess it's not the worst thing, but like still, I think, you know, the attack drop plus the ability nerf definitely makes these guys less insane than they were before. However, because Game Freak's weird, and you know they have to do this stuff where, like, you know, box arts have to be like the counterparts to each other, right? So that also means they have to have the same stat totals for some reason. I don't know why, but that also means they had to nerf Zamazenta's stats, so, you know, they could still match Zacian's, because that's the most important thing. Obviously, it's not like, you know, Zamazenta was the worst box art ever, so it really had no reason for its stats to need to get nerfed. But, like, you know, Zacian's stats are different, so now Zamazenta's have to be different too, obviously. So yeah, now it also lost it. Yeah, got a stat drop in addition to the ability nerf. So what was the change here? I'm looking at so attack used to be 130, I think, for both forms. So now it's 120, which is kind of lame, but not the biggest deal out there. And then other stats, yeah, the defenses got nerfed, so actually I don't know what the I'm not sure what the stat changes for this thing were. Did its defenses get nerfed? I don't know, honestly. Yeah, I have no clue. Actually, I have the same stats. I never realized that. Maybe it was just attack. I don't know. But the crown form also lost 5 in each defenses. So it used to be 145 in each. Now it's just 140. So that's, you know, that's pretty whatever. Not the biggest deal. However, I haven't mentioned yet that, you know, these nerfs to Zamazenta, while undeserved, they almost kind of make up for it with the fact that it now has body press, which is freaking what this Pokemon needed since it was invented. They didn't give it body press in Gen 8 for some reason. I don't know why. Because it seems like it was made for body press, but like now he has it finally. Now he can use his absurdly high defense stat plus the fighting stab, and it just is beautiful. It's beautiful. And while, you know, they did nerf his ability, so he's not going to have the defense boost every time, at the same time, he already gets iron defense, so it's like, you know, it's whatever. Like, he can still do the thing. So that's pretty hype. Finally this Pokemon has some sort of use. It has a clear, like, niche it can fulfill, something it's good at, which is about dang time, because Zamazenta needed that love, for real. So yeah, good for him. Good for him finally getting body press. I mean, I guess on this thing it's like not as important. Like, you could still run it, but like I feel like this form runs it a lot better. So yeah, good for Zamazenta. Next up, Turnus now has Fire Blast, so I guess that's a neat option if you want to run that instead of Flamethrower. Maybe, you know, the damage makes a difference on a certain calc for a certain matchup. I don't know, but, you know, it's an option. It's an option to have, which is nice, I guess. You know, it's just, I don't know, doesn't really hurt, right? You know, why not? But yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, it's Eternatus. It's still pretty crazy. But yeah, now it has Fire Blast. Cool. Next up, the Urshifus. Oh boy. So these boys, they got Swords Dance, both of them. Why did this mod need Swords Dance? I have no clue, because this mod was broken in singles and in doubles. So they decided, you know, they looked at it and said, well, this mod's pretty crazy. Why don't we give it Swords Dance? Because that, you know, that's the only logical conclusion you can come to, right? But they did nerf it, both of them, slightly. Or did they? Wait, did they nerf you? Hold on. Surging. Okay, I don't think they nerfed Surging Strikes, which is weird, but they did nerf Wicked Blow. It's 75 power now. It used to be 80, so that now it's a little less strong. Not a big deal, honestly, especially when you have Swords Dance now, so you can just raise your attack anyway, so who cares? But hey, I guess it's something. Weird that they did not nerf Surging Strikes, though. At least I don't think they nerfed it. I think it's always been 25, right? Maybe not. I don't remember. I think it's always been 25. Maybe I'm wrong. But regardless, those nerfs don't make a big difference. Because again, Swords Dance, I just don't get it. But like, okay, here we are. Anyways, Zarude, lose Darkest Lariat, which I don't get why they had to take that away. So now if you need Dark Stab, you just go in with Crunch, I guess, because it doesn't get knockoff either. I don't get why Game Freak decides these things, that they decided, Zarude, Darkest Lariat was a little too strong on him, so we had to get rid of it, obviously. I don't understand. But good news, on the flip side, is he also gets Swords Dance and Trailblaze, which is pretty cool for him. It actually makes him, like, pretty good at setting up, right? Because before, all he had was Bulk Up, and you normally see, like, Bulk Up plus Jungle Healing, and then, like, Dual Stab. That was, like, pretty decent set, but now you can run, this stuff, dude. You can run, like, this plus, like, not Darkest Lariat, because it doesn't get any more. You can Crunch, Close Combat, and you can do something, a little setup sweep thing. I don't know, it's pretty neat for him, I feel like, probably one of the better mons that can use Trailblaze, especially since it's Stab. Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of cool to see. Maybe you can even, like, give him, like, the Terra Fighting, that Stab, Close Combat, and also, like, have a better typing than Grass and Dark. I feel like Zarude's actually going to be really good with Terra now I think about it. He's going to come up, he can give himself a better type. I haven't really talked that much about Terra for most of these Pokemon, now I think about it. But I don't think there's, like, that much to say for most of them, because we've mostly been talking about legendaries, which are already pretty broken. But, like, Zarude, I think, definitely could take advantage of Terra very well. Speaking of mons that can abuse Terra, Regieleki, oh boy. So first of all, they gave him Charge Beam, which is cool, I guess. Nice little electric move, raises special attack. Sure, electric moves, that's always been Regieleki's thing. That's kind of been the whole premise of him, is the fact that that's kind of the thing that keeps him balanced, right? Because his ability makes his electric moves even stronger. So he's got Stab on them, obviously, and he's not super strong, but, like, with his ability, he can hit pretty hard, and, like, Electric is a very spammable type. Only, like, Ground's immune to it, but that's kind of it. I mean, there's, like, Dragon and Grass types that also resist, but, like, for the most part, like, Electric's pretty good type to spam. So that's kind of always been what kept him balanced, though, is that he doesn't get, like, any other moves than, like, Electric and Normal. Basically, that's it, right? He was pretty good, in Gen 8. I mean, in singles, he was okay, but he's never amazing. In doubles, he was very good, because, how fast he was. He got a Electro Web and, like, screens and stuff, and, he's pretty neat. Pretty good mon. So about, the lack of coverage. Well, now we have, this move in the game. So, now Regieleki, it can turn, say, hypothetically, into an Ice type if it wanted, and then suddenly Terra Blast is an Ice move, and then, wait a second. Now it has perfect coverage with its, electric attacks, because now it has an Ice move. Yikes. Well, looks like we broke the game. Oopsie. Yeah, I mean, hey, it happens, right? It happens. Sometimes you just, make a Pokemon broken on accident. But hey, you know what? I guess that's hype for Regieleki. Now it's tearing it up in Ubers. Good for him. Good for him for being busted. Yeah. Pretty crazy. But moving on to Regidrago. Regidrago got some love this gen, which I love to see. Because he deserves it, right? He got the super short end of the stick compared to Regieleki, because Regieleki was always a pretty great mon. Look at that speed. And his Electric's a good type. He was always solid, but then Regidrago, he just couldn't cut it, man. He couldn't cut it. Like, look at his speed. Like, he's got all his HP, but, like, he's a Dragon type. Dragon types aren't really about being bulky. They're about doing damage. And, like, on top of, much like Regieleki, this mon always suffered from lack of the coverage, because he mostly had Dragon moves. which is kind of rough for him. But now they give him some love. They give him the love he so deserved. And now they give him ground coverage, both physical and special, with Earthquake and Earth Power. So this is great. This is amazing for freaking Regidrago. So now he can hit Steel types for super effectively, reliably. I mean, he had moves like a Fire Fang and Hammer Arm in the past. Okay, sure, but like no, these moves are way better. So like now, you know, for physical stats, he still got like Dragon Claw, boosted by his ability. Also Regielekki's ability got nerfed because, you know, they were both 1.5 and Regidrago's is still 1.5. Now Regielekki's is 1.3, which is pretty funny because, like, you know, they had to nerf Regielekki, but Regidrago still gets his ability as strong as it was, so that's pretty funny. But anyways, yeah, you can run like D-Dance and like I don't know what you'd run for like last move. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. I mean, it'd be nice if you could hit fairy types and whatnot, but still, you know, just like these three moves already freaking awesome. And then for a special attacking set, you know, you got the freaking, what's that move, Dragon Energy, where it's just like dragon, what's it, eruption or water spout. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah, and then yeah, again, don't really know. I mean, he still doesn't have that much coverage, right? But like, still, you know, it's something to give him a little extra love. I guess you can run Terra Blast. Man, honestly, Terra Blast Steel doesn't seem that bad on this guy because, you know, Steel pretty solid Terra type to switch to turn into. Steel types are good, and then you got that, you know, nice coverage for Fairy type. So, you know, maybe that could be something. But anyways, Regidrago, finally give him some love. Finally give him coverage. Thank goodness he needed it. Regielekki didn't need it though. Anywho, Glastrier, he lost high horsepower, which is sure, I guess. I mean, he was never that great, but I mean, if they want to. Also, Glacial Lance was oh, did you not get Glacial Lance? Does the other guy get it? Okay, you get it. It got nerfed 120 base power, used to be 130, so I guess there's that. But besides that, yeah, I think that's about it. So do you not have a ground move anymore, sir? You have Bulldoze. Great. So yeah, I don't know why they did this, because this mon was never that good in the first place, but like, you know, I feel like this whole thing that it had going for it was like that ice ground coverage, and now it doesn't have that, so big L for him. That's unfortunate. Sorry, Glastrier. But Spectrier, this thing, oh boy. So much like Regielekki, the idea with balancing this mon was that it only had ghost moves and it had no coverage. So you'd run like, if you wanted an all attacking set, you'd have like Shadow Ball, and then like maybe Hex, and then you would run like I don't even know what else you run. You'd have like Mud Shot and Uproar, and like, does he even get Uproar? He doesn't. What would you run? Swift. You have Mud Shot and Swift. That was your coverage, which you know, not great, but it turns out, you know, unlike Regielekki in Gen 8, even that wasn't enough to keep this mon balanced, because it was broken still even back then. Because, you know, Ghost Stab is pretty crazy. So yeah, who cares it didn't have coverage? It was still absurd. Also, I mean, look at these stats. They're absurd. Also, his ability, which is basically Moxie, but for a special attack. So yeah, this Pokemon was never ever balanced. But they decided, you know what, it needed Draining Kiss. And, you know, it needs coverage. It needs something super effective to hit Ghost types. Or, excuse me, Dark types. Why? I don't know. I don't know why they felt the need to nerf Glastrier, but then Spectrier gets a buff. That makes no sense. What's going on here? But yeah, Draining Kiss. Yay! I guess, you know, could do a set like this maybe. Be pretty decent on him. Yeah, something like this. Yeah. So this mon's just even better than it was before. So that's great. But no, they had to nerf Glastrier because it was obviously way too good. You know, the slow ass ice type had to get nerfed. Of course. Anyways, and I just don't understand. Calyrex, did they do anything to him? I don't think so. So they didn't buff him, which, you know, he could have used the buff because he's pretty bad. You know, these stats, yikes. Also, Grass Psychic, bad type. Also, I mean, his moves are decent, I guess, but like he's just, I don't know. His bond's always been terrible. He's just bad. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about him. But like these guys, I mean, these guys are pretty nutty. Also, this thing gets Draining Kiss because Spectrea gets Draining Kiss, so hey, sure, why not? But yeah, I mean, and again, I don't get, because like what they nerfed Glacial Lance, but did they not nerf Astral Barrage? Was that not already? Was that 130 in Sword Shield? I don't remember. Maybe they did nerf it because like it makes sense if Astral Barrage is 120 because now Glacial Lance is also 120. But I don't know. But hey, these guys are back. I mean, you know, this thing is pretty good actually, unlike this mon. So you know, I guess you don't have high horsepower either. So I guess that was the logic behind nerfing this thing. Because I guess, you know, maybe like in VGC, like under Trick Room, he was pretty good. But then like, why do you buff this thing by giving it Draining Kiss when this thing was like absurdly broken to begin with, and it was way better than this thing ever was? Why'd you buff this one, but then you nerf this one? I just don't get it. I don't understand. But, yeah, I think that's basically it. That's all the mons I wanted to go through in this video. So yeah, a lot of broken Ubers. So, you know, Ubers is gonna be fun for people who play that. But on the flip side of that, mainly, you know, as for how this will affect OU, especially like, you know, the staple guys like Zapdos, Heatran, Lando T, like those guys getting nerfed is definitely, it's going to be interesting to see how that affects how they're used and like what happens to them, how viable they will be in the meta and all that, how like if their playstyle will change at all. I'm very interested to see how those changes affect them going forward. And how they affect the game in general, because I feel like it's been very interesting. Like this gen in particular, I feel like the buffs and nerfs Game Freak has done, it's really like, I think it's telling and like really shows like what like how they want the game to be, and like how like what play styles are good and which ones, you know, they want to discourage a little bit. I find this stuff really interesting. So yeah, maybe I'll talk about more of that stuff in the future if you guys would be willing to watch. But yeah, I think that's basically it. I've said everything I want to say. This video's already gone on long enough, so I think I'm gonna hop on out. But yes, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. And like I said, the Hisuian forms we're talking about in their own video, so be sure to check that out. And yeah, that's all I had to say. See you guys later.